What is it about music, whether it's writing music, playing music, listening to music, or seeing a live band, that helps us to cope with some of the hardest parts of being a human? What is it about music that helps us through anxiety, depression, or any number of the mental health issues facing millions around the world? I'm Jeremy Houtsma, licensed mental health counselor, musician, music lover, and host of Safe and Sound podcast. On Safe and Sound, we take a look at the power of music and therapy on mental health struggles with some of your favorite musicians from the punk, emo, and post-hardcore scene of the late 90s and early 2000s. You'll also hear from therapists and other professionals in the mental health field about the effect of music and community on issues of anxiety, depression, and trauma. You can find Safe and Sound on all major podcasting platforms, with episodes released every 2 weeks.
Welcome to the Imperfect Dads Podcast. This is your host, Devin. We believe dads care deeply about their family and kids, but they don't always have a space to discuss what their life looks like. Our podcast is a space for dads to discuss the ups and downs of fatherhood and how they feel like they're holding it together or how they're not. Thank you for joining us for this episode. This podcast is part of the Never a Face Network. Make sure to follow them on Instagram or go to the website neverafacenetwork.com. On this episode, we have on Steve from the band Punchline, Blue of Colors, and the podcast A Band Called Punchline. We talked about his time in Nashville, moving back to Pittsburgh, being an older dad, having a younger kid, finding mental space to write songs, coffee shop adventures with kids, community in Pittsburgh, navigating screen time, enjoying the simple moments of life, his band Punchline, and starting a podcast called A Band Called Punchline to talk about their experience in the band and all the memories from it. Just like one more thing.
Dad, just start the episode.
Oh, my bad. So let's start with the most basic first question. How many kids you got? Ages, all that good stuff.
I have one son. He's 3.5, and I'm learning as I go. It's my first go around. I didn't have a lot of previous experience, not a lot of little kids in the family. Really always thought that I wanted kids and was on board, and now it's here. And I just believed when everybody I saw was like, they seem so happy. You know, it seems like a pretty fulfilling thing. And I believed in the process, and now I'm here, which is not an instant thing. You know, it takes time to grow, which I think is really interesting and part of the ride. But yeah, a son who's 3.5.
Yeah. I always will give dads like the heads up of like, the first 2 years are going to be a lot. Like a lot of the fatherhood moments you think of are like, they're a teenager, I'm teaching them how to drive. They're a kid, we're throwing a ball or something like that. And it's like, it's going to take a bit to get there. And there's still ways to show up, and you're going to learn how to support your partner, your wife, and your kid. But it might not look the way you thought it would. So just know this is a journey to becoming a dad, not more than you probably realize.
Right. I feel like I'm a little bit of an older dad, but when we were having the baby at the hospital, the picture that I saw in the hospital, like the dad's freaking out and losing it, I felt like I was like a little, not calm and collected, but I feel like I had the benefit of having just more life experience to be prepared for that, albeit what an event. Oh my.
Yes.
Don't need to get into that today.
Yeah.
But I do think about that, you know, I think it would be cool to be a young dad and it be maybe a little more chaotic because you haven't had the luxury of time to live your life. But, you know, I am enjoying that. I feel like very much I'm embracing this and was ready for it.
Yeah. That's a common sentiment I hear is that I'm assuming you're in your 40s. Is that accurate to assume?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm 45.
Cool. Yeah. So dads I know who had kids like more in their 40s and in their 20s are like, I feel like I know myself so much better. I'm not as reactive of a person. I am calmer. I know how to approach things. My knees just freaking hurt every single time I get up off the floor is the only downside.
Yes. We have some of these issues on the regular for sure.
Yes. Why was it not until like your 40s you're like, hey, this has become a dad and everything? Was it because of the life of being a musician, being on tour constantly?
I don't think it was. Once I figured out my partner, my wife, then it was all systems go. I mean, I feel like I would have done this all sooner had we figured that out sooner, which is a shame because we dated a long time ago. It was like, we split up for a long time, got back together. I mean, it's great. I wouldn't change a thing, but Also, we could have done it like 5 years sooner.
That to me implies you just take this stuff seriously. You take being a dad seriously, making sure that you know the partner you're getting it, keep starting this journey with, because that's a pretty massive part of it.
Yeah, I say a lot of positive things about being a dad, and all of it is like under the guise of like my wife is just wonderful and so helpful, and
Hmm.
I follow her lead on a lot of things. She's a preschool teacher, so
Okay.
she
Yeah.
had a lot of experience, and she was a nanny, prior. She has a lot of experience that I just don't have. So I mean,
Yeah.
she's really like very much my teacher.
It's good to acknowledge that or know that going into it of like, oh, so you know what you're doing here. Like there's some stuff you would intrinsically know also, but like
Yeah.
reality is
Well, I
like
definitely
this.
have plenty of intuition I speak up on.
How's that go? How's
No, I feel pretty set in my ways. Like I just feel like such a dad, like, things that I will have maybe hard lines on just that we're not gonna do. And, once for my kid to just always be like nice and
yeah.
polite and things, there's a lot of things, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's really interesting to realize that like, well, I think kids are a constant mirror, right? So like they're just constantly reminding you if you're being nice or impatient. Like go to the grocery store
Mhm.
with your kid and you'll realize like you'll hear them be like, oh, get out of the way. And you'll be like, oh, did I say that last time we were here? Damn it, that's not good.
We walked outside today and my son said like, "Oh, it's lovely. It's a wonderful day." And I'm like, "All right, that's what we want. That's what we want to hear."
That's right. And then your wife is there being like, well, that's because I say that. And you're like, God damn it.
She's very positive, and I feel lucky for him that his first two. So she's a teacher, but we were all home her first 2 years, so he had the
Mhm.
liberty of like hearing us talk to each other
Yeah.
all the time, and that seems like it has to be foundationally
Yeah.
huge. Or I feel for parents who are single parents and they don't
Hmm.
have, like, their kid doesn't get to hear them talk to another adult. But
Yeah.
not that there aren't other adults around, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
I do. No, I think not to get too philosophical too quick, but like, I think the reality of being a parent is you are kind of teaching your kid what normal is every single day. So you're just
Hmm.
aware of like, okay, what's my normal? How am I treating my wife? How am I treating strangers? How am I basically? And how's my energy? With the acknowledgement of like, this is what your kid is going to think how people should treat each other is how you treat people intrinsically.
Am I supposed to say something
No,
immediately
no,
after
no,
that? I
no,
need
no,
a
no.
need a minute to process it.
Yeah, right. You can't. But like, my hope is that like, hopefully, I love my wife in a way in which my kids know it's obvious that I love them, and so for them to be around that energy is something like I want you to think that like the way your mom and I get along and like interact with each other is a healthy relationship, and I hope it is one. So later on in life, whenever you start to date people, like I hope I'm setting a good standard for you.
Right, right. Yeah, I like showing that like the people and the relationships are really what this whole thing is about. And I think he's picking up on that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's fun. What are your kids into?
My oldest just finished Harry Potter, which is
Oh,
pretty
that's fun.
awesome. Yes, and I don't think you would know this yet, but like, they've gone back and done like graphic novel versions of like a lot of books that we read as like kids, or even
Cool.
like, I know like The Hunger Games is now a graphic novel, or they did the first one of that. But there's this whole thing of like making like literary things like that into graphic novels, and my daughters love graphic novels, so lots of reading, lots of time spent at the library. My middle child plays soccer, so I coach her soccer team. My youngest likes to kick a soccer ball, but he doesn't like to do it in an organized setting, which is a great thing to navigate as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We doing
Or
music over there?
let's see what I mean. I have a guitar over here somewhere. I have like Taylor's and stuff. I went to Belmont, so I lived in Nashville for like 18 years.
Oh, cool. I lived in
Yeah.
Nashville for almost 5 years.
Okay. What area of
Yeah.
town did you live in?
I lived in South Nashville, just south of the city. I lived right next to the old Grimies. It was in
Oh
my
yeah.
in
Yep.
my backyard,
Cool.
and that's when it was still there, which the
Hmm.
basement is still there. Is that correct?
Yes, the basement is still there. Because they've been on Trinity Lane now for like, oh, I don't even know how long. But they bought like the building next to and turned in Grimies too, which was like
Yes.
very used music focused. And then I think whenever they said, we need to get out of this space, then they moved to Trinity. And I think, Grammys 2, I think is now last time I drove by it, which I haven't lived in Nashville for like 2 or 3 years now, would have been, I think it was an Enterprise or like a car rental, which that rent, like the incline to go down was like freaking brutal. You'd like bottom out
It
on your car
was,
every
that's
time you
right.
do that.
That's funny. Yeah, I had a good time living there. It feels like it was sort of a music education
Yeah.
in a way. Like I went to this different place where I was around all this music, a lot of it which was different from which I was used to.
Hmm.
Not as much punk rock bands. Watched all of my punk rock band friends go country, which was
Hmm.
bizarre.
Yep.
And just to see so many friends and people doing like things of high caliber in the music industry was super inspiring to be around. And a lot of people who I toured with that I thought, wow, if we lived in the same city, we would be friends.
Hmm.
We lived in the same city and we got to be friends and have many years like that. That was super duper cool. I moved back to Pittsburgh years ago, and it's a different energy in a different
Hmm.
city, but I love Pittsburgh. Nashville was
Yeah.
very cool. It
Yeah.
changed so much,
Hmm.
like every day as
Yeah.
I was there until I was
Yep.
gone.
Yeah, especially if you're on 8th Avenue over there. I mean, like, I would have gone to Belmont from 2006 to 2010. And, like, I mean, whenever I started at Belmont, you didn't go to 12 South. Like, there's nothing in 12 South. It was the Frothy Monkey over there. And, like, that was about it. And now it's like Reese Witherspoon's flagship store. It's Bachelorette Party Central. I mean, 12 South Tap Room just closed. So, like, the only thing that's left in 12 South from whenever I went to college is that Frothy Monkey. But besides that, Mafiosis is gone, 12th F Taproom is gone. Like it's not the same city that I lived in. And it's a weird thing to complain about because it means there's growth and there's like it's just not what my original definition was. And that's always an interesting thing to like not shame Nashville to be like, oh, you grew. And it's like, well, yeah, of course you did. Why would you not? So it's just
Mhm.
interesting.
There was this red brick building across the street from the Red Door in Midtown,
Yeah.
the one that was at the top of Music Row.
Hmm.
And this red brick building, I had a small recording studio in for the years that I was there. And Butch Walker had his studio there. Previously, it was a Warner Brothers record label office for years and years.
Yeah.
Had other recording studios in there. Apparently, Dolly Parton wrote "I Will Always Love You" on the steps of this building, or it was
Heck
inspired
yeah.
by there. But they
Yeah.
tore it down.
Yeah. It's all gone now.
It's
Yep.
gone. It was a hospital. I mean, I don't know how they didn't make it
Yeah.
a historical landmark.
Yeah.
It was,
Yep. Well,
but
I think RCA Studio A only got saved because Ben Folds kept owned it for a bit. And then I don't have, the legalese in front of me. I think Dave Cobb owns it now, or Dave Cobb definitely records out of there. So, I mean, like, the only way that, like, one of the most, Studio A, RCA is like, it's like godly in my mind, is because Ben Folds was like, I'm going to pour money into this to save this because I cannot see this building turned into condos.
there was a moment where that all went down. Maybe there were multiple moments, but there was
Yeah.
one moment where he spoke up and he said he was going to speak at the studio and anybody could come. And I went there,
Yeah.
and this was at the time where is the organization called MIC, something to like save the historical buildings of Nashville, like preserve them. But that's like when the moment this organization was found, and he gave this speech on the steps at the studio, and all these people were around. Everybody was cheering. It
Yeah.
was really cool, and I don't know. To me, it's like that happened, and then no one ever said anything again. And I know that at the end of the day, it just takes raising money, but it's almost feels like, me and my musician friends that were there who were all like broke and trying to do
Yeah.
anything to find ourselves and make a career. We're like, I don't know, what can we really do here? And then it's like, oh, not really that much. And most of the stuff is actually going to get torn down. So
Well, I think for like Music Row, the best case scenario is, so I went to Belmont, is for Belmont to somehow buy the building. Cause like, I know they had a good partnership with like RCA Studio B. I took classes at RCA Studio B. I took classes at Ocean Way, which are both on Music Row. And so you almost like, yeah, you're hoping for like a big donor or like a big institution like that to be like, hey, we're going to preserve this. We're going to do classes out of here and we're going to bring this in to be part of our mission. And if you don't have an organization that does that, then it's just kind of like, I don't know, private donors, like, and like, yeah, watching the history of Music Row be slowly torn down year after year was not fun. It wasn't ideal.
It was very cool. I mean,
Yeah.
what it was when I was there, I don't know how active it was. I'm sure if I was there years earlier, it would have been
Yeah.
even smaller. I mean, Nashville felt tiny
It did.
when
Yep.
I got there, and I don't know, it's pretty neat. What was your trajectory post?
Yeah. So I would have graduated in 2010. I interned at a recording studio down in Franklin called The Castle, if you ever heard of that. And basically, I didn't make enough connections where I trusted I could do music business as a full-time gig. Because I wanted to do like a production or be a sound engineer for studio. I don't like live sound. I don't like life on the road with that stuff. And so I wanted to do that. But like, whenever I graduated college, I had 6-figure student loan debt, and like I didn't have no one was offering me jobs. So I worked at News Channel 5 for a little bit. I worked at a company that sold paper goods. Then I worked at a dentist office. And then like in 2019, basically we had 2 kids. And after a year of us both working full time, we were like, this is not financially worth it for us to still be working and the amount of stress that comes with it. So since 2019, I've been a stay-at-home parent. And then in 2021, we actually had a 3rd kid.
Cool.
Yeah. I started doing podcasting in 2022, which makes me feel, like my music business degree is actually worth something finally to do something with it.
That's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, man, it is. I remember interning at the Castle, and like if anyone booked a session there, like the assistant engineer kind of did all the work, maybe got paid in pizza. And then like the producer would come in and critique everything you did. And I'm like, oh, that is not the creative, inspiring environment that I hoped. Like my idealism for what making music was way up here, and realizing I only wanted to record music that I liked and with people that I liked. That's not a job. That is not a job. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like that was part of the message of the takeaway of Nashville for me was I wanted to record people and do production, but the kind of production and music that I wanted to make didn't require me to be in Nashville. I couldn't insert myself into the country music machine. I mean, I couldn't buy into it. I mean, nothing against it. It makes me feel I'm just like a punk rock or rock type fella who just can't get into the country. But I have always loved the music that I make with my band and with my friends, but trying to make it a business and trying to, see what you can create.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because even like, I think the End is still there and has original ownership, but like Exit End got bought out, and that was a whole thing also. And like, my freshman year, I remember seeing like, oh God, so many bands at Exit End. Like I remember listening like Cursive and all these extremely like raw rock bands.
Love Cursive.
In front of my face, basically. And then and so knowing that like the 2 venues for them were like the End and Exit End, and watching even that area of town change over, be more commercialized, I guess that's the most polite way to put it. And like overrun, it's just like, well, this is the energy that I love. This is the energy that I'm looking for. A basement basically with loud screaming guitars, and I need to wear headphones, honestly, just to keep my hearing. Is like, there's some of that in Nashville, but like, it's not really there.
That's funny. Those places are certainly the punk rock places. And I'm sure there are 5 times the venues now since I lived there.
Yes.
But honestly, I hope they built some better sounding ones, because for being Nashville, I thought that a lot of the main venues didn't sound that great. I saw so many shows in that L-shaped cannery ballroom.
Yes. Yeah.
And it sounded so bad. I saw Copeland there. I saw Bleachers. I saw Andrew McMahon.
Yeah.
All bad. Just sonically, I mean, you just can't sound good in that room.
Yep.
It's nice to see them, to hear those songs, but you're really swallowing a bitter pill to take part in that entertainment experience.
I went to a wedding reception there once, and that made a lot more sense for that space. Because like Mercy Lounge, like across the way, perfect space. But then you walk across the hall and you go to Cannery, and it was like an L shape. You're standing next to the bar. You can see if someone's standing all the way over here on the stage, maybe you can see them play their guitar, and like, but none of the speakers are oriented towards you. So that was usually nowadays. If I go to a show, I just go for the headliner. If I would go to Cannery, I'd be like, well, I got to go for the openers. I got to go early because I can't be 30 feet over here away from all the sound system stuff. So yeah, I'm with you.
I'm trying to think of the first show that came to mind seeing in the middle room was I saw Superchunk
Yeah,
in the middle room, which
Yeah.
was very cool. And then upstairs was the High Watt.
Yep.
And I saw Chris Carrabba play
Nice.
and I saw Matt Pryor from the Get Up Kids.
Yep. Yep.
There.
Yeah.
I played that show. That's why I saw him there.
Okay. Do you know Dane Poppin?
I don't.
Okay. Dane played bass with Dashboard for a little bit.
Cool.
And he was
Nice.
also in A Static Lullaby, if you remember that band.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
So-
it was Chris Carrabba's new band. They were called Twin Forks or Twin
Forks or something like that. Yeah.
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 That was pretty cool. He's a nice guy. He told me once that my band had nice sounding harmonies, and we took that compliment and still talk about it on podcasts today.
That's awesome. No, he seems like a genuine dude. When did you live in Nashville from? Like, what years were you there?
I was there from 2013 to 2017.
Okay. Which also would have been like the great exodus of like, Anthony Ranieri from Bayside lives down there now. Chris Carrabba lives down there now. The guy who founded Vagrant lives down there now. So there's a lot of people from like this pop punk, emo, whatever, hardcore scene who started moving to Nashville. So like, it would have been natural to be like, oh, maybe there's a scene for this, as opposed to just people looking for a suburb life that's a little bit calmer than whatever.
It was cool because a lot of those bands did start to play Nashville because they lived. In the beginning, most of them would go on tour and just not play Nashville, which was pretty funny. It was cool. I remember we had only played Rocketown prior to living in Nashville.
Yeah.
Which was, that gave us a really warped vision of what Nashville was, not warped in the sense of the Warped Tour.
Yes.
At all. We played there with like Hawthorne Heights.
Yeah, that sounds
in
about right.
2009.
Yeah.
And I think that was maybe our only Nashville show. And we played there since. Like when I lived there, we played a couple times and we played at the end.
Yeah.
And that was very cool. We played this one show like where we went back after I lived there and we played at the end. And like all my friends were there and
cool.
it was a Punchline show, but it was super, super cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because Rocketown was like basically, I interned there for a little bit. I helped them with like some data entry stuff. And I didn't realize that they're basically kind of like part music venue, part like after school program to like help kids. Like it's a skate shop. It's like, say, I'm assuming playing that venue. And I think you would have played newer Rocketown because Rocketown was a location and 2009 would anyway. It like has had a couple iterations of like venue playing stuff. And like the current one is like makes sense. But the older one was like, part church, part, I don't know. It was memorable.
When I thought of the closest landmark to Rocketown, I thought of the ping pong table at Martin's Barbecue. I really like that ping pong table and playing ping pong in Nashville.
Yeah. Martin's is also pretty solid barbecue as well.
It was cool. A lot of barbecue down there if you like barbecue.
So if you lived in Pittsburgh for so long, do you have family in Pittsburgh as well? Like, is that part of like the fun of being back home and having a kid now as you are closer to your actual like immediate family too?
Yes, me and my wife both grew up in the Pittsburgh area. We have family here and roots and bands and all that.
That's so cool. It makes it a little bit easier as opposed to like, my parents live in Indiana and we live out here in Denver. And so like, it's a discussion to get to see grandparents and stuff as opposed to like, okay, cool, we can work it out, but it's not like a plane flight to get to. Is one less logistic to figure out.
Absolutely. Denver seems like a very unique city. I've been to Denver many times. I feel like the last couple times I was there, it felt like it was a little turned up, maybe from the abundance of legal weed. I can't really tell, but just always interesting. He's traveling around. So much of America is the same. Like you go to the city, you talk to these people. Go to the city, talk to these people. Like you could trade cities and it's the same. But every there's a couple cities that just have a different energy to them. I remember last time I was in Sacramento, I've never had so many hugs just from anybody in general. Like after a show, I thought that was really unique and worth mentioning. And I think that, sometimes people of like Salt Lake City can be the most fun crowd out there. They they have less alcohol in their drinks. Like, it's not because they're on drugs, I don't think. And but Denver, I mean, definitely had sort of a unique energy. How is it living there? What's your take on that?
Yeah, we like it a ton. I will say, like, as a parent, I feel like we've done the right thing whenever we can spend more time outside. And like, it's just very easy in Nashville to be outside out here. There's a lot, we live like Denver suburbs, so we're not like Denver proper. So like, there's tons of cool playgrounds. There's cool places to go hike. There's cool places to go ride your bike. There's like lots of like lakes and reservoirs, so you can go have a beach day if you want. So like, that was as a person who's a stay-at-home parent, like during the summer, I'm like, okay, let's get outside and do something. In Nashville, Midwest, anywhere like that, it's so freaking hot by 9 a.m. Like, you go outside with your kids and like everyone's drenched in sweat. And you're like, oh, well, like, I guess it's another inside play day. Here we go. So I find it a lot more fun out here to like be outside. And genuinely, I just feel like I'm doing a better job. If I can limit the opportunities for screens and kids begging for screens, then I feel like I've done a decent job as a parent that day.
This whole life is a funnel to screens. It's all just a funnel to screens and things on screens and video games. I see it, and I see us all doing it too. And it is a real pickle that we've gotten ourselves into.
Yeah. How do you feel like because I mean, my 4.5-year-old son, I really don't like YouTube for him, because like, if he watches a show, I feel like there's a story arc, and once the story ends and the credits roll, then he's like, okay, cool, the show's over. With like YouTube, it is constant. It is always like, here's the next video. Here's the next. It is just like constant dopamine hits. And he'll have like, not tantrums, but he'll like throw a fit whenever we turn off YouTube, but he won't if we turn off like a Bluey. Have you started to experience any of that with your son yet? Where you're kind of like, we need to avoid this.
Yes, the weird toy videos, and trying to get my head around what the right parameters are so I can tell him, so he understands what it is that's liked and don't like. But I mean, there's a lot of videos already that are super entertaining and pleasing that were probably made by AI or don't have a human. But I feel like I do want there to be want him to be watching a face. You know, cartoons are cool, and cartoons with storylines, but I feel like if it's going to be somebody's YouTube show, I mostly want it to be like a person on it, or people talking, so that it's like socializing in some way. But yeah, we're pretty against weird toy videos.
Yep.
I was just telling him, I said, look, the people that are Bluey is made by the people who make Bluey. What's on YouTube is people who watch Bluey, and they make things like Bluey because they like it. I was like, we want you to watch things made by the people who make Bluey. So that's where we're at so far. But he's always like, do you like this, Dad? Is this one okay, Dad?
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with it. And like, some of it is like, best example is whenever watching my son, whenever we turn off YouTube, he's like, is sad. He throws a fit. And I'm like, what dopamine hits did that video just give?
Right.
What did that just do to your brain? And like, it's similar, like what giving your kid like a whole donut and watching them lose their mind. And you're like, oh, I'm the one who gatekeeps this. I'm the one who says, this isn't healthy for you. You're a child. You just want to consume more. I get it. So like, you have the moment like once or twice of watching your kid go crazy after watching something. You're like, oh, you just don't do this again. That's basically what this means.
Right. I just see how you can just tune out and fall into the rhythm of these super pleasing, eye-catching. I mean, it's incredible what they can do. Also, I will say there were some people at a gathering at my house last night who were above the age of 70 years old. Wonderful people related to me. Showed me a video of like an AI video of like two little kids, like a boy and a girl, having a fight in a car as like a married couple would, but they're AI little kids. And these people were just cracking up and loving this. I'm like losing my mind. Like, what are we doing? And it was funny, but it's barely funny. And so if people were already that into this stuff that's like barely funny or barely interesting or barely needed that much creativity, it's just a slide into screen world.
It is. And like, I don't know, I grew up listening to like punk rock music, all this stuff. And like, it deeply offends me because it's so lazy. I'm like, rebel against something, have a voice, do something, like fight in some way. And so to watch someone be like, type in a prompt to make their art, is very hard for me to get behind. It's very hard for
Right.
me because it seems like so many shortcuts, and all those shortcuts offend me to my core. And to know how to like communicate that without just being really aggressively like F this, never like get this out of my face. It's
Right.
like, calm it down, man. Like settle down a little bit. But also, I don't like this.
It's a crazy world we're living in. I don't know
It
what to
is.
say.
Right. Tell me about like, okay, so for making music and stuff, I know you're in Punchline. Are you in other bands as well, or is Punchline your main gig?
I have Punchline, and then I make music that is my own music called Blue of Colors. That's
Mhm.
a little more indie rock.
Do you have like when you record stuff, do you have a home studio or do you go somewhere to record it?
It varies project to project. Recently, I have been at least doing my own vocals at my house for basically like all of my music, which gives me the liberty to like figure out how to sing it first
Yeah.
and then take my time with it. I do feel like now that I have a kid, things are changing and we might need to figure out how to go into a studio to be a little more partitioned off from the world to tap into the magic needed to make a great album and whatnot. But so far, yeah, I have a home studio here, and lately it has been challenging to get back there. But I do a lot. I do a lot of songwriting. So it's
Okay.
even though I don't have demos to show you and I don't have finished recordings, I have lots and lots of bright ideas for when the time comes. And that's very rewarding for someone who is, I mean, this whole songwriting thing at the end of the day, playing music. I love being a dad, love being in my family, and I love songwriting. Those are that's my jam, if you will. And being able to just write and write, I get a lot of pleasure out of that, and it's very productive. I think by the time we go to the studio to record, to have better ideas to start with. It's taken a long time to learn. Sometimes you run into ideas with songs where you like the idea and you know there's something there, but maybe there's a part of it that you just can't figure out. And in the past, there's been so many of those that I just like jam through and like don't end up loving it. And now I'm with so many ideas around, just more willing to like let stuff like give it time to grow until you figure it out. So I love the abundance of ideas.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to learn like that your subconscious will do some good work on like a creative thing. It's because sometimes if I put all my focus on like, I'm going to do a different guitar track, I'm going to do a different bass line or something like that, then I almost like overthink it. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to step away from the song for a little bit and I'll come back later. But like younger version of self was like, no, this needs to be good now. And it's like, I mean, why? Like,
I
just
love
come back to it
stepping
later.
away. Step
Yeah,
away.
like, yep.
I wrote a second part to a verse idea that I came up with over 15 years ago recently, and I'm okay with it. It needed the time, and the part's perfect. I don't know why I came back to it, but I did, and now that one will eventually get recorded. It's very fun, the whole songwriting thing. If people don't know, I play in a band called Punchline. It's a band that I started when I was 16 years old. And after high school, we played more, played around the city, started playing more regionally, started doing DIY tours, eventually caught onto a small record label that became a very big record label while we were there. And then the whole music world like became this more DIY online thing. And it's been just quite a journey. But we've made, I think, our most recent, we came out with a new record called Somewhere to Land recently. And I think it's our 10th album, 10th full length or something
That's
like
pretty
that.
cool.
So lots of Punchline music if anybody wants to listen to it. I did want to say, Imperfect Dads, what it makes me think of is what we call that around here is a father's touch. When his shirt is on backwards, when his pants are on backwards.
Yep. Okay, if you ever have a second kid and have a daughter, my wife will always be like, I think the thing she worries about with me, being full-time parent for them is their hair. Because like I don't brush my hair, I don't style my hair, I don't care.
Right.
And she's like, no, I can tell whenever you attempted to brush the girl's hair. So she's more taught them how to do their own hair because of a father's touch to it's not going to turn out well, and just accepting that is kind of hilarious at the same time.
That is. It's we all have a laugh around here about it.
Yeah. Or you look up and you're like, why is that? Oh, because you did it. Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks. Yeah, yeah. Is your like when you're not doing music stuff, do you kind of take over the responsibilities of like primary parent, making sure like you're around for your son and taking care of all that stuff, or is that more your wife since she's more in that
No,
world?
it's me.
Okay.
It was her until she went back to teaching
Hmm.
about, oh, I guess just in September. So it's been almost a year.
Yeah.
So that's been me in the lead, which I work from home. So he's, doing a hybrid of daycare and at home and
Yeah.
some grandmas around. It is what it is.
Yep. That then makes sense why you would like if you have a bunch of song ideas but not the demos, it is such a different mental space to go from like, all right, let's make sure this kid is entertained, let's play with them, let's make sure I'm meeting some of their needs, then to be like, now go sing that chorus. And you're like, okay,
Absolutely.
how many times? This is gonna take a bit.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many things in life that require you to sit down and be in the moment to figure something out that
Hmm.
it's hard to. I have 15 minutes to go work. Like, oh, go
Yeah.
solve a big problem for, with what you're working on.
Yeah.
It's very challenging, but we're all making it work. And
Hmm.
when everything's working, it's so good.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, if I can say, I'm sure it's no surprise being on a podcast with dads. I feel like this part of my life, so many friends, parents are passing away,
Yeah.
and feels like so many people experiencing like tragedy on
Hmm.
the regular, which can be, I mean, the perspective of just like if we can just get through the day and like
Yeah.
everybody's just okay, like then we're doing fine. But that's really fascinating being a dad now and how that's all changed the perspective. I did have a theory about dads before I became one. Let's say in terms of people who run or exercise. I always wonder, like, some people become dads and then it seems like they become so productive. And I did realize before I had a kid, that's because when you have 20 minutes to run, you go run
You go
as
run.
fast as
You
you
go
can
run. Yep.
because that's all the time that you have.
Because you don't know
You
when it's
don't
going to
have,
come back. Yeah.
yep, you don't know. So if you want to do it, you go do it and you go do it right now,
Pretty
which
much.
I got to do earlier today. And I
Did
feel,
you?
I feel
Nice.
great now. Yeah.
Yeah. How you define like self-care or looking out for yourself just drastically changes. Cause like before it's like, man, I'm going to go to concerts as an easy example. I'm going to go out to dinner first. I'm going to go watch the opener. I'm going to go to the headliner and then I'm maybe get a drink with a friend afterwards and come home. If I go to a show now, it's like, I'm going just for the headliner. I'm going to like, headliner's going to go in at 9. I'm going to leave my house at 8. That way I don't feel like I'm
Right.
leaving my entire family. And then whenever that show's over, like I'll probably just come straight home. So like just even that, it's like, no man, if I get an hour or two to go to a show, that's phenomenal. For younger version of myself would have been like, oh, this is a whole day to go to a show. And it's like,
Right.
no, you're good. Enjoy the 2 hours you get.
Absolutely. I remember going to dinners with friends and be like, why are we doing
Dude.
this all the time? Like, we just go to dinner all the time.
Yep.
And now I'm like, oh man, I want to go to dinner with my friends. It'll be so fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, I don't know
So,
about you, but anymore, like if I go to dinner with a friend, which is genuinely, sadly, not as common as it should be, like when we get to the hour mark of hanging out, I'm like, is it like, I know my wife has said kids are good, everything's good, but like, do I stay out later? Like, or I need to get like, what do I do here? And it's like, calm down, man, you're good. Like, just enjoy time with your friend. You'll be okay.
beautiful. Have shifted a lot of my evening energy into morning coffee shop energy. I
Yeah.
live by a wonderful coffee shop, and that really has introduced me to so many people in my
Mhm.
neighborhood and other families and kids. So me and my son go over there pretty frequently and get a coffee and a little sprinkle cookie. And
Yeah.
it's cool. It's given him so many little social interactions that I feel like if we lived somewhere remote, maybe he
Mhm.
wouldn't have as much. So I love that I got a good spot here in this neighborhood. It can feel pretty Mr. Rogers neighborhood sometimes, but it's like, walk over there and this older lady's like, oh, I just brought flowers and showing him flowers. And then this other
That's
guy,
awesome.
showing him, it's grandkids around. It's all very cool.
That is cool. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just more opportunities to like show humans interacting kindly. And like, that's another fear of YouTube is like, am I going to end up on some AI video of people arguing, which aren't even real humans, just because someone prompted it because they knew outrage would lead to views? So like, I feel like
Right.
the more I can lead my kids to be like, hey, here's how people should treat each other. And if you're in a
Right.
community in which that's prevalent, like, oh, hell yeah, let's just accept this and be grateful you've got it.
Right. I feel like I love the technology for how it connects us to the people, but the way in which it's becoming, I don't know, maybe it's just,
Yeah.
I can't get into. People send me all day like the short form content videos, Instagram Reels and TikTok
Yep.
videos, and I can't watch it without being like, why are these people making this little sketch?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I hope that if we are gonna be addicted to screens, that we're using them to talk to people, communicate, like be creative and make things, because that's a lot different than just consuming something someone
Yeah.
else made.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yep.
figure it out.
We will. And it's I don't know. Some of it's also like I don't like the version of myself that walks into a room is like, what can I consume in this room? Like what's in this room for me? Is like, well, that's not community. That's just selfish as hell. And that's what your phone or screens do for you is be like, hey, what are you going to consume from this? And it's like, well, that's a one-sided relationship. I don't want to I don't want to positively reinforce that. That's not good.
Right. I could do better with it. I feel like I'm thrilled with how I don't participate in a lot of the things that other people seem to be into, but just
Yeah.
in general, I feel just so at the hip with it. And like you said with your kids, like they're mirrors and they just highlight everything that you're doing. But like I said, we're getting through the day, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
have fun conversations. I'm like, this little
Yeah.
human, he's okay.
Well, I also think like having a kid just makes you simplify so many things. Cause like that is a good morning. Like if you walk to the coffee
Mhm.
shop, talk to some neighbors, get a coffee and a cookie, then walk back into nap time, that's a phenomenal morning. But you have to like, it's a
Right.
definite mental shift. Cause like, yeah, like if you
Yeah.
give me 3 hours without a kid, I'm like, okay, this go grocery. Like here's my list of things I feel if I want to feel like I have value, here's the things I need to accomplish. And it's like, why? I mean, like, yeah, it's just like simplify, man. You're okay.
You have to be a professional at this now, but okay, my son doesn't like going to daycare, but
Yeah.
most kids don't like going to daycare. And I had so much going on this morning for work and meeting with a plumber and talking to
Mm.
an accountant. It's you have to go to daycare. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Riding that line of they don't like something versus they have to do something because
Hmm.
they do.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is. I think we spend a lot of time looking at our kids and being like, use your words, tell me what you want. And then whenever they do that and they're like, I don't want to go to daycare, I want to be with you. And you're like, no, it feels like it feels like I'm betraying them. It feels like I'm being
Right.
like, use your words, but also your words didn't get you what you wanted. It's like, well, that feels damaging. Okay, here we go.
We told him last night, me, him, and my wife were sitting there, and we said, now raise your hand. Anybody raise your hand if you would love to stay home tomorrow and us all just play together and like go out and have fun in the sun. And we all raised our hand.
Yeah.
We said, see, we would all, that's all what any of us want to do, but we can't. We have to go work
Mhm.
and have these things that we have to do as people. And we'll all be together soon, day by day.
Pretty much. It's the only way to do it, and it's reality. I think most of being an adult is like, all right, I got to talk to the HVAC guy today. Oh crap, I need to follow up on this. I need to follow up on this. I don't want to do any of that. I would rather do none of this. But that's not good. That's not, I can't do that.
Right. Right.
Before we wrap up, one thing I do want to ask you about is like with making music and promoting it, like how's that feel for you now with like Punchline and stuff where like, you're going to record an album, you're going to release it out there, getting people to pay attention to your music and like actually find your music. How's your headspace with that nowadays? Because you guys have an established career, you've got 10 albums or so. How do you feel like getting people to find your music? How much does that annoy you? Because that exhausts me about like doing a podcast. It's like, someone please just find this podcast. Does that ever like feel like a brick wall you're running into as a creative type?
Totally. I
Yeah.
mean, you have to be, and I mean, to be it's like you have to be a successful Instagram expert
Yeah.
to be a successful musician. So it's challenging, and I have done okay at adapting, and in other ways terrible. at adapting. I mean, honestly, a lot of the things that work for us and our band are some of the things that have always worked. We recently went on a tour that was good for us, and we got the tour because like our booking agent knew their booking agent. We
Hmm.
kind of knew the bands, and our manager kind of knew the manager, and that's just how it has always worked. We had like a new album out around the same time frame. So I tell myself all the time, like, you must only compete with former versions of yourself and
Yeah.
really try to tune out what's around you and use what you don't like as a compass towards what you do. Like, oh,
Hmm.
you don't like doing this? We'll find a way to do something. But it's really easy in this world to say like, I don't want to play by the rules, but then you don't go and play by your own rules. You just don't play,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's very easy to just say, I'm not going to play by the rules, and then like you're off on your own island over here. But we continue to have opportunities and continue to have new songs.
Hmm.
Our band is I mean, I feel like we have a really special thing with the people in our group. It's basically all the people that started the band. Many of them left and came back, and
Hmm.
it just feels like this whole community where we all do this because we love it and we want to, and not because it's financially lucrative or because anybody's making us, because we're contractually obligated or something. And
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of power in that, and people like it. I in a band like Ben Fold. I'm a big Ben Folds fan. He's
Yeah.
coming here next month. He must come to Pittsburgh every 9 months. And sure, I'm sure he is well paid, but he doesn't have to come to Pittsburgh
Hmm.
every 9 months. But he is out there hustling and making records because he wants to be, and because that's the schedule that he puts himself on, maybe to be competitive in his space. But I just think that it's super cool. I think a lot of times people don't realize, I mean, what's really cool about bands is it's the bands who are like, we want to do this, we want to do
Hmm.
that. And like, you might think that a manager came up with it and told the band what to do, but it's really the bands that are the
Yeah.
ones behind it.
Yeah. That are driving it or being like,
Yeah,
actually,
we're
we want
just
to connect with our
people
fans. Yeah.
making an agreement with other people, and then we go out and make these things happen. Like, it's beautiful teamwork.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, and also like I feel like I know more people now where the band's gotten back together, like in their 40s whenever they play music, it is more just like, oh man, it's so cool that we get the chance to play music together. Like I had on Todd Bell from like Braid and Hey Mercedes, and like they're gonna do some shows opening for Jimmy World. And like Todd's main thought is like, one, besides like, hey, it's cool to hang out with the guys from Jimmy World, he's like, oh man, we're all still like healthy enough to go play music together. Like that's
Hmm.
awesome as hell. And like I feel like you can sense that from the people. Like if you're in the crowd, you're like, oh man, these guys are just having a great time, grateful to play music together. And like that's such like a pure energy. And the more you can be around that stuff, the more it energizes you in your day-to-day life, I think.
Touring now versus when we were younger,
Yeah.
everybody's just so happy to be there, to have like a
Yeah.
nice stage to go out and play, and there's a crowd and we can hear
Yeah.
ourselves. It's pretty fantastic. So, and as long as we have, we can get the basics going, I feel like
Yeah.
we'll be pretty happy. In
Yeah.
our 20s, somebody was always like pissed off or, upset about something, odd man out, which of course, because you're in your 20s and you're in this band and you're in a van, you're going all over. And at the same time, you're supposed to become a person. You're supposed to find yourself and become an adult and be an individual, but you're trapped in this group. It's quite a ride.
Yes, I bet it is. And also I love like the whole like DIY punk stuff is you do play in venues where like you almost like set up a mic stand and you're like, is this going to electrocute me? Like, is it like, is this all wired correctly in which I don't die tonight? So like to go from that to playing, shows where like the bathroom's been cleaned within the last week is a very different experience.
Absolutely. Can I tell you something? We have a podcast called A Band Called Punchline,
Okay.
and it is a documentary style podcast, like highly edited, that goes through
Hmm.
each episode is about an album of ours.
Cool.
And when we started to make this, we involved the former band members And really, it was the making of the podcast that helped kind of bring us all closer
Cool.
together and
Yeah.
usher us into this new era where we had our old guitar player rejoin the band. We made a new album, and we've been back out there on the road and honestly, like touring and playing to a degree that we haven't in a long
Mhm.
time. So thank you, podcasts. And also, if anybody wants to listen to, a music podcast that's like, you might not know Punchline, but to hear the story going from
Mhm.
like a garage band to watching, like we took Fall Out Boy on their first tour
Okay.
ever,
Yeah.
and
That's
they
cool.
went on to become the
Fall
biggest
Out
band
Boy?
in the
Yeah.
entire world.
Yeah.
It was quite a humbling experience.
Yeah. I
So
don't
if
doubt
anybody
that.
wants to listen to our podcast, it's called A Band Called Punchline, and we
Nice.
appreciate you.
Well, that almost sounds like halfway through that tour, like crowds would be like, can you switch headliner and opener? Like, can you well, this is now a co-headlining tour, just so you know. And you're like, okay, thanks guys. We found them first. Okay.
I think we played a show with them in Detroit one year for 5 people, and 2 years later they played to like 23,000
Yeah.
people, something like that. It was,
Yeah.
it was insane to see happen and super cool.
Yeah. No, but the joy of doing creative stuff. We're like, this year, who showed up? That bartender was real nice and we're best friends now. Next year, sold out venue. And you're like, I don't know. I'm showing up and playing the show and trying to treat people well. And here we are.
Right.
So, in the interest of time and that your son is still asleep, I'll start wrapping up the episode just in case he wakes up.
Cool.
So,
Okay.
how I end every episode is ask every guest a series of 5 questions. So they aren't like rapid fire or anything like that. They're fun, like little
Yes.
icebreakery questions. First question is, did you have any backup names for your son? Like, did you have anything that you almost named him?
We didn't, and there's actually a story about his name, if I can tell you real quick.
Please do. Yes.
Because it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
My wife suggested we name him Leo.
Okay.
And I thought, that's pretty cool. Okay. Arriving at his name was essentially quite simple.
Mhm.
I thought it was almost fun to be like, I like that. Okay, done.
Yeah.
And so we named him Leo. And I don't think many people will know this, but so one of the things with our band Punchline, we put out an album called 37 Everywhere. And it was called 37 Everywhere because when I was a teenager, I used to see the number 37 everywhere. And I used to like write it on my notebooks, and it became a thing within our friends. And then eventually we brought it to our band and we named this album 37 Everywhere. And forever, like, I think I have a 37 tattoo, and
Cool. Yeah.
our fans get tattoos, and they tag
That's
us
awesome.
in their Taco Bell receipts. And so we named him Leo, and maybe 6 months after he was born, I'm playing with these number magnets on my refrigerator, and I realized that Leo upside down is 037, and I about lost my mind. Me and my
That's awesome.
wife just like gulp.
Well, that's cool.
It is super strange. He can write his name on a calculator, and he really
That's
likes
good.
calculators. So that is fun.
That's awesome. I find that stuff fascinating. Like the number 22 has always been one that's like circled around me for some reason. And you
Cool.
just accept it. You're like, whatever, this is the number.
That's
I don't
great.
know why. It just keeps popping up. And why not? Why not like lean into it a little bit?
Love it.
That's so cool. Next question. Do you have a favorite like TV or movie dad?
A favorite TV or movie dad? I mean, I've been watching a lot of Bluey, and
Yeah.
Bluey's dad, Bandit. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Top
don't
tier.
get much better than
Top
he's top tier for
Yeah.
sure. And
Okay. Here's the piece of parenting advice I've heard someone had to tell me once was just remember every Bluey episode is about 8 minutes. So, Bandit's a great dad for 8 minutes. You don't know the rest of the day. He was like, no, guys, seriously, my back flipping hurts because you rode me like I was a pony for like 3 hours. And I'm in, like, I can't get up now. So, like, just go talk to your mom. Get out of there. Like, what's off camera, Bandit? Like, that's the documentary I'm looking for.
that's I'm gonna keep that in mind.
But it's like he's mentally present for his kids. And even the episodes where he isn't mentally present for his kids, that's the whole lesson of the episode is Bandit figuring out how to be more mentally present for his kids. And I'm just like, I didn't know I needed a cartoon dog to teach me so much, but apparently I do.
It's a beautiful show. It really is.
It is. It is. Has it made you cry yet? Bluey has absolutely 100% made me cry. Okay, yeah. Next question. Do you have a go-to replacement curse word yet? Or since your son is so young, do you still just say the curse word?
I feel pretty good about censoring myself. I have one of my songs is called What the Hell, and he's known this song and sings along to it for more than I don't know. It's been like 6 months and he's been singing What the Hell, and he's like, "Dad,
Yeah.
play What the Hell." I'm learning how to get my head around all this. I haven't made up any curse words yet, and it is going to be an interesting one to crack open, because he's quite verbose. So I imagine it won't be long before the words that before he starts saying words that I like don't want him to say.
Yeah. Yep. I go sound effects. I think sound effects is what I normally gravitate towards. Is it like or something like that? Because you can't it's not a growl. First of all, I'm not growling at my kids, but it's just a low it's just a groan.
I can see doing the curses.
Yeah. Yep. Just go full fantastic Mr. Fox and saying curses over and over again. Curses. Rats. Just try to make it classy. That's what you should do. That's what
Rats is a good one.
Rats is a solid one. Next question. What's one of your favorite toys or activities that you play with your son?
Just going off of something we did today is we've been playing with CDs and cassette tapes. So physical media, I suppose. I think it's really fun. He likes to sit there with a cassette player and put on songs, sit there with the record player. He looks at the records and opens them up, and sure, they might get a little bit scratched, but I think if he can sit there and listen to a whole record, that's fantastic. And he seems to really be into music, so we're nurturing that. And I mean, just feels a lot different watching, something streaming on YouTube versus like a tactile cassette tape and playing around with that. So yeah, physical media.
I have a turntable. We have Bluey on vinyl. I mean, no, I am 100% with you there. Or teaching my kids how to flip a vinyl and for them to know which side has which songs I think it's really cool. I think it matters. And I'm not even going to tell them actually sonically it's better too. I'm not going to put that on them yet, but
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just trying to teach him, just have so much fun with music. You're upset, dance it out, have songs that are your favorite songs, explore music. And he's, pretty obsessed with it. It's interesting. He loves my band. He loves my band so much.
That's awesome.
I never expected him to be so familiar with our entire discography at 3.5 years old.
Yeah.
My wife comes in and she rolls her eyes. She's like, I just never thought I could have even more Punchline in my life, but
that's
she's
awesome.
She's a good sport.
My son, for a while, there was really into figuring out what rockin' music was, which just meant listening to a lot of Rage Against the Machine because he really likes the guitar riffs. And me being like,
that's great.
Please don't repeat the bridge of this song. Just as we listen to Killing in the Name of, can you please not hear the words, or do I change it before the bridge? But then he throws a fit because I changed before the bridge. And I'm like, but I can't have you hear a song that says, F you, I won't do it. You tell me over and over. Oh.
I really like this one Wet Leg song right now, and I can't play it in front of him. It's too much. Too explicit.
Yep.
Right. And it's pretty common. People are swearing used to be contained more to just people saying it, and now it's all over clothes and on stickers and on people's cars, and it's just language, I suppose. And I'm sure we'll find a way to teach him about it. I don't know. I mean, I figured it out, I feel like.
Yeah. Whenever your kid starts to read is the worst part. There was one time I was at, I went to a burger joint and my middle child was sitting there going pee, and she was like, F-U-C-K, just reading the graffiti on the wall. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, no. I did not want to have this conversation right now. I just want you to go pee and we can go eat some fries. But okay.
Oh my God.
What's that word mean?
I kind of want to tell him that there are words that are bad. He doesn't really know that there are words that are bad yet. I think he's going to find that very interesting.
He will. And then last question for you. As your son gets older and everything, is there like any moment of his life or phase of his life where you're like, man, I can't wait until he enters into like this moment of his life, this phase of his life or anything like that?
I mean, honestly, I'm just enjoying. He doesn't know that people die.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
He
he's
doesn't
got that
know.
innocence to him. Yeah.
Yes, it's so precious. I don't want that to. I'm just really
Yeah.
hanging on to that and hanging on being able to hold him. I mean, I think I'll enjoy many facets of life. I mean, there's nothing about this ride where I'm like, man, I wish he could play. Okay, I can't wait till he can play ping pong. That will be really fun when we can play ping pong. There's
Okay.
the answer.
Okay. Yeah. 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 But I do agree when they're like 3.5, like, oh, dude, they have so much innocence and they have so much beauty to them. And like, I'm not here to be some cynical old man being like, oh, the world's going to take that from him. But like, there's a lot of scary stuff in this life, man.
Yeah.
And like, you do want to protect your child from that.
Yeah, we just had our first emergency room experience recently, and he felt like pain for real for the first time, and it's
Yeah.
the precious thing to explain life to a 3.5-year-old as you're still figuring it out yourself.
Yeah. And then last thing for you is just like moment for self-promotion. If you want to follow like Punchline Instagram, like what's Instagram for Punchline for the podcast
that would be
you
so
mentioned,
cool.
all that good
Yes.
stuff. Please promote yourself.
Yes, look us up. The band's called Punchline. You can just search Punchline. Our new album is called Somewhere to Land. It's orange. So when you see a bright orange Punchline album, maybe put that one on. I also make music under the name Blue of Colors. If you like bands like The Strokes or Miniature Tigers, maybe you would be into something like that. And our podcast is called A Band Called Punchline, and I hope that you check it out. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I have to tell you that I was excited to do this podcast because finding time in this life to do these podcasts, I mean, it's very fun. I've very much enjoyed talking here with you. But it's one of the first times that I rolled the dice and said, I'm going to schedule this. I'm going to try to get him to sleep.
Yeah.
And if he can't, well, at least it's the Imperfect Dad
pretty much.
podcast that I will be flaking out on.
Yep.
And I feel like there's a little bit more leeway to do so, but it all worked out. Look at that.
It has built-in grace. Like if you are ignoring your screaming son in his bedroom so you can talk about how you enjoy being a dad, that's just so you know, not the energy I'm looking for. We will reschedule. We'll figure it out. But like, yeah, no, there's already a built-in, like, I'd rescheduled on someone last week because it was a snow day out here. And he was like, yeah, you're at home with 3 kids. Why would you ever do a podcast episode on this? And I'm like, yeah, no, it wouldn't make any sense at all. So
heck yeah. Thanks, Devin.
Yeah, man, thank you so much. Hopefully your son still sleeps for another half an hour or so you can like stare at a wall or like zone out for a bit.
Yeah, I think we got another half an hour. I'm going to clean the house.
Sweet. Perfect. Enjoy that. And thank you so
Awesome.
much. I really appreciate your time. Thanks, Steve.
Heck yeah. I'll talk to you soon.
All
Thanks
right,
for listening.
Bye. Of
Bye.
course. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening to the episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the Imperfect Dads Podcast. And make sure to give us 5 stars wherever you listen to us. Music, editing, and production is all done by me. Make sure to tune in on Mondays and most Thursdays for new episodes. This podcast is part of the Never a Phase Network. Make sure to go to neveraphasenetwork.com to learn more about them.